All right. Let's begin with some recaps, and then we'll do a lot more practice today. So the first few lessons, we were pretty much looking at how to draw a trap, right? Again, I just want to point out that the logic behind why we have to draw out a trap is because the trap is the level we are going to use to get a bounce or reaction off. This level, how strong it is, it could be good or, like mediocre or bad. It all depends on the story of where it is in a pullback, right? We're all doing all of this kind of stuff in a pullback. So look for this to look for a level. That level might be good, might not be so good, and it all depends on the story. Yeah. So a trap is formed when, say, we have a few push towards the upside, as long as the logic is there, where people are thinking it's a buy. So here, multiple swings towards the upside. This is a trap, right? Who are trapped? The guys that bought here, they are trapped. Same goes for this. If it's in an uptrend, when we crash down like that, support resistance is an area where they are supposed to buy, and then they got trapped, price pulls back. For them to get out at break even, they have to push down. Okay, if it's a real trap that the buyers really, push up from here in an uptrend kind of thing, they have to get out at break even, inviting sellers to come in as well to push price down. Same goes for this, and then same goes for this. Right? All these levels are the levels we identify. Okay, this area here to look for a reaction, this area here to look for a reaction. All right, so in a general context, we are always trying to fade a pullback. So generally speaking, it's something like that, from a downtrend pulling back for us to sell, from a downtrend, Okay, now this piece here, where these kind of levels are from, these kind of traps are from, they can form in multiple areas, right? So let's say, again, looking at the downtrend. Okay, this is the last guy who started. If we do this, he got killed. These are the seller's last attempt. Hence, when price pulls back, it's gonna do something. Right? It's gonna do something. Right? When price pulls back, they are gonna attempt. Whether this is gonna go up hard or not so hard, we are not sure. We're not sure because overall we are still in a downtrend. How we can be a little bit more sure, something we'll get into next week. Right? But generally speaking, in a downtrend, this kind of a release is more towards mediocre or not good of, level. That level is not so decent. So anyway, the fact is, we know buyers are stepping in, right? Because the trend has transitioned from a downtrend to an uptrend, right? Then if these attempts fail and got killed, we have another release. When price pulls back, anyone who bought here, they want to get out at break even. And then this piece here would be considered as a good level, good trap. Okay, all of this, pretty much we're looking at it on the 60-minute, right? On the 5, this piece here that's pulling back would probably look something like that. We're gonna go into a smaller time frame chart later. Probably gonna look something like that, where buyers actually try from this bottom level, right here, and then when we resolve down, bam, like that. This pullback again, we're looking on the 5, get our kill at a 60-minute zone to sell. So here, we are using a 5-minute trap and kill with a trap and kill on the 60-minute to execute this piece. Okay, so far, everyone following along?
Yes.
Yes.
So from yesterday, nothing much has changed. The only thing that could throw us off a little bit is how the pattern looks. Here, we're all drawing a pattern, right? Higher, higher lows, this kind of situation. Of course, in an ideal world, that would be best, but market doesn't always present this kind of situations for us. So sometimes how we need to identify if buyers are actually coming in is with volume, and when is it safe to trade, we have to use volume, because volume is the only thing that's not justifiable, if that makes sense. Because price action is really discretionary. I can read it one way, some of my teammates can read it another way, although it's the same chart. But volume is there. It cannot be interpreted differently, right? It's there. It has to show something. So that's where volume comes into handy. So, yeah. Any questions? Team B, Ross, Dennis, Satyawan, Laila, Casey. Okay. So same thing. The other thing we added on top of those traps and levels are pretty much volumes, right? So let's say we're doing stuff like this. Okay, all of this area here has low volume, all low volume, and then this chunk here has high volume. Okay, when we resolve towards the upside like that, Satyawan, are we able to do this release?
I don't think so, because there's a lot of volume before this.
These volumes, you mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They're all here,
Yes.
right? So when we resolve up, where's the volume?
What do you mean with the volume?
The volume is behind us, right?
Oh yeah, behind. That's what I said.
Yeah. If the volume is behind us, it all means inside this range, someone's trying to sell, someone's trying to buy, someone's trying to sell, someone's trying to buy, someone's trying to sell. And when this thing pops up, someone has to be trapped, right?
Right.
And this is your clue to say that it's actually valid, that people are trying to buy and sell there. So even if we do not take out the guy who started, the release could still work.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Makes sense.
Okay. So, Dennis, in this case, if you were to mark the primary and secondary, which one would it be for the upside to go for buy?
Okay, wait. This one is the primary.
Okay, remember primary. What does primary means? First time, right? So
Yeah.
it's not really a primary.
Yeah. You mean this one? Yeah?
No.
No, I mean you say it's not primary because he's not yet killed the guy who started.
No. So if we are going up or pulling back, primary is the first time it reacts from something. First time buyer showing itself.
That's what I'm trying to say. I thought the first time Brian is showing itself is this one when they killed the guy who started. Suppose he killed him.
Okay. In this case, you want to read this as looking at this downtrend. The easiest way to spot a primary is look at the first time it stopped and went away. So we yesterday we were also talking about how primary is unable to make a launch. Do you know why?
Because the trap.
Yeah. Because these guys that got killed, they want to release. So primary here, they're unable to, make a smooth launch because someone up there is still trying to sell. Right? So all of this piece here, it becomes messy. The easiest way to look at this just based on this alone. All right, I'm not trying to put a pattern into our head here, but primary can be this. Secondary would be when it resolves up. And then this would be your cheese. When everything has showed that it's launching. All right. So the whole point is the whole point of knowing this is which part is the safest one to trade. Here, if we trade this, if there's a level here, we just know that when it goes up, it's not able to go make higher highs because someone is still trying to sell. AKA this is also a money spot, right? In an uptrend in a seller's territory. Here it becomes safe because you have all the volume behind you. You have this small little range that got resolved up. Here it's also safe, right? Because this, based on technical analysis, the last guy who started got taken out. If anyone is still trying to sell, thinking that it's still in the seller's territory, they're still trying to sell, here it release. Yeah, does that make sense, Dennis?
Okay.
Anyone lost so far? No? All right. Laila, if we were to do the buys, all right, where would you not want to have volume? So we have only marked the volume from, let's say, here, say from here to here, okay? If you were to mark out all the volumes, where would you not want to see volume at, high volume at?
I wouldn't want to see high volume here.
Yep.
And here. So in the end of the move, of every move, I guess.
Okay. So if, let's say right now, you do have high volume here. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's put it like that. All right. You have a little bit of volume, not too high. All right. Just say it. Let's just say a little bit.
Yeah.
When would you be able to do the buys?
When I cross this one, I have to kill this one. It comes down and I'm going to take it from here.
When you kill this, you have all the volume from here, everything transfers.
To there, yes. So because this is not a lot of volume, when it comes down, this is the launch area.
Yeah. So there will be some instances where the volume here is still high. Okay, let's say equally as high as these guys and these guys. Then this is the part where you have to make your decision and ask, okay, I'm in an overall uptrend. We have pullback inviting sellers in and they are all trapped with high volume. Are these volumes gonna mess with me? Right, then that's your call. Do you still want to try and take the trade to see if it can break that area or not? Because now at least you know this area here, it's gonna react, right? It's gonna react. It's just how far can it react because of this.
Yeah, could you say that you're gonna here you've read the volume on the 1 hour, then you in this piece you're gonna read the volume, and this piece you're gonna read the volume on the 5 and see if you have a lot of volume here and less volume here, then you can't take it up. If the volume on the 5 is better here, you can take it at least to here.
Yeah, if the volume on the 5 is good, where this last piece here, all the volume on the 5 minute, when you're looking at the pullback, it's all at the bottom, then at least you can try to go for the recent high. Yeah. So we do not always get a perfect scenario. Sometimes we have high volume also at the top. If it's not an uptrend that's super extended, then sure, we can try and gamble and say that there's a high volume behind us. We have refreshed. All right, this is called a refresh. We might be able to punch through. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Casey, any question?
Sorry, I had to step out for a second. The only thing was I was wondering on was, did we decide that this was the secondary on this actual move? Or was it this one? I just had to step away.
This is the part where it doesn't really matter so much. What matters the most here is just knowing that primary is this piece because it's the first time coming back, and knowing that it's a primary, you automatically know that it's not gonna go all the way up because they still want to sell. That's what's important about knowing this piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right. So the labeling part, sometimes it's fine to get it wrong. Just know when is it safe and when is it not safe to take the trade. All right. Team A, any question for everything we have talked about so far? No? All right. So let me add one more piece, right? Gonna add one more piece, and that's pretty much the end of most of the education. And then we're gonna do a lot more practice for the rest of the uniform program. So the next piece here is just to know when exactly are we expecting this kind of setup, a primary and a secondary. Okay. So let's work backwards here. Setiawan, so a primary cannot launch. Am I right, Setiawan?
Yes.
It cannot launch because?
You need to see first. The level.
No, it cannot launch. The primary cannot launch because it's not really the right answer.
What's it?
All right, like that. Okay. Let's say we have a push from here. This is your primary. This move cannot make new highs. And why is that the case?
Because you need to kill the last try first.
Not really. Primary cannot launch because we have created a trap. Right? When this uptrend push is still attempt, and got killed.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So why does primary not able to launch?
How do I say that?
All right, try and read this piece here.
Okay, this one is going up, and then this one is going up.
So all
Okay.
buyers trying to
This
buy.
one is- yeah,
All right. So
and
what?
this one got trapped, right?
Yep.
And
Where's the last attempt from the buyers?
here.
Yep.
So you need to stop around here.
Yep. Right. Why does it need to stop?
Because they need to break even. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yep. They need to break even, right? So there is going to be a reaction like that, right?
yes.
So primary cannot launch because someone on the opposite side is still trying to sell. Does that click?
Yes.
Yeah. So we only have a primary and secondary only comes in. A primary and secondary only is visible when there's a refresh. Okay, only if there's a refresh. So let's say if I do this, like that. Is this a primary? What do you think, Dennis?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, your audio is low again.
No.
Oh, okay, no, because?
I don't have a refresh yet. I don't kill any buyer on the way down.
Okay. You haven't killed anyone on the way down. Hence, these guys, are they trapped? Is anyone
I
trapped?
don't
here?
think so. I don't think so.
Okay. Casey, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Nobody's technically trapped.
Laila, what do you think?
No buyer is killed, so no trap, no primary here. It belongs to the buyer still.
Yep. That's very good. So no buyers is killed. All right. No buyers is killed. So no trap. Right. No trap. So no primary. Because our whole assumption is a primary cannot go all the way up because someone will still try and attempt. So if we do not have this piece and this piece, then there's no primary. Yeah, basically you got the right answer. Steven, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So generally, cases like this, it's not really a refresh. So we're not really looking for primary and secondary kind of action going on here. But there will be some cases. This is where things get a little bit more discretionary. If let's say we are in an uptrend and we start to stall, we resolve down, start to stall again. In this case, okay, before going into this, the whole idea of looking for refresh primary and secondary and this kind of setup in an uptrend is to know that buyers gave up and sales could come in. All right. If we just forget about the patterns and all those kind of stuff, the whole logic here is buy, die, sell, coming in. All right, everyone following along? So if that's the case, right, if we're just purely looking at logic, here, would there actually be sellers coming in here?
Yeah. Temporary sales.
Yeah, there would probably be sellers, right? Just because, we have slowed down a lot and then resolve down, sort of like a range and then resolve down. So in cases like this, you might see price pulling back and then test from here to release again, right? Just based on logic itself. So in this case, this could be a primary, and if it fails to go lower, then the easier trade sets up here. All of this is just to understand the fact that sometimes when we go up, if no one's killed, if there's a logical area here for release on the 60-minute, we can easily see stuff like that. All right, but if this piece here, before pulling back, we have a huge ton of slowdown, big range forming, and a resolution towards the downside, just based on logic alone, sales are coming in. And when we do a buy, it's not going to be like this. It's not going to be smooth sailing. It's going to try, and the sales still want to try and attempt, or the buyers want to get out at break even at these areas here. Okay, so this part here, we're going to use a little bit of MAs as well, just to see if things are slowing down. We're going to get to that later. Does that make sense for everyone?
Yes.
So is this idea true for the range if there is no volume to indicate that there's trap buyers?
Yeah, it's true. The only thing is you wouldn't really want to sell it because there's no volume. But when you do the buy, it's not going to have an easy time going right through it.
All right, and then for this case, if there was volume indicating trap buyers, would you say there's temporary sellers?
If there were volume here, you wouldn't really want to buy it to begin with, just because you may think that this uptrend has high volume at the top.
True.
Yeah. Otherwise, you are waiting for a much deeper pullback and then do the buys from the bottom, away from the volume.
Could you take a sell from here, temporary, when it's high volume in the range?
Here?
Yeah.
No, it's still a little bit counter trend. We're gonna get to that because that sell, right? might easily be this. We do the sell and then it stops halfway and then turn.
Mm.
Although there's high volume here, we still cannot neglect that, it's still strong.
Okay. Depending on the flow and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that one makes sense for you, this piece here?
Yes, yes, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look at some charts. I saw you guys were doing some practice as well. Regardless of team A, team B, which pair do you guys want me to have a look at? Anyone that have a good discussion going on or interesting setup?
I was studying earlier primary sell on USD CAD, and it played out nicely to the level. I had
Okay,
a couple questions on it.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was looking at it around this green candle, and yeah, I seen that we was working between these two levels, and the volume was supporting this level a little bit more. So I was seeing if I can get a primary sell down to this level where the temporary buyer stepped in. And yeah, all the volume supported the sell. We had volume up here, and then we had temporary buyers coming in with the volume and the range. And then on the buy side, all the volume is coming in towards the top. So on the 5 minutes, I seen like slow down, and I was just waiting for the sellers to take out the buyers for it to transfer to the sell, and then it played out like during the Asian session. And I just had a couple of questions on it.
Okay, yeah. Just one thing before going to your question. With what we just spoke about just now, would you consider this as a refresh and then a primary and then a secondary and then a cheese kind of situation going on for after this pullback?
Yeah, with the range, or if this is the last seller, we have this like C type of move.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so with this range breakdown sell, so you're assuming that this sell got taken out and then we are in buyer's territory. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then because we are in a buyer's territory after taking out this seller, we have a refresh. Yeah, I sort of get your point. I just wanted to know if you know. But if we do pull back like that coming down, without any kind of a range or no kind of a real trap that's visible on the 60, this pullback, ideally speaking, would be very, very smooth towards the downside. It's sort of like this right now.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, just one more piece. The reason why I ask you that is because we want to know when we take a trade, how smooth is it gonna go? Now, in this case, there are a few things to consider, right? If we look at the bigger picture here, remember when we were talking about this earlier last week?
Yeah.
Earlier last week, we were saying this, right? Last guy who started. And from here, goes up, turn to buyers. Right? Turn to buyers when we kill him. Overall, this buy might be very risky because we are in a counter trend. Right? Let's forget about the volumes for now. So this is a risky buy because we are in a counter trend and then the buys kept going higher. And then it pushes all the way back down. At the same time, we are at an SNR. Okay, this SNR is not a trap. Everyone agree? Right, this level here. It's a range, but it's not really a trap because we were all still inside buyer's territory. All right, we push down, guy who started, stalls, kill. Now, in the grand scheme of things, what's this piece here?
Yeah, that was one of my questions. This would be a cheese, right?
Yeah, this would more or less look like the primary to push down. Primary cannot always make a launch because someone below might still be trying to buy. In this case, this zone here is not really a trap, but it is a range, right? So it cannot really get through. So all these were their attempts. And then this becomes what we call the B-type trap. Right? So if this is the primary, secondary in cases like this, yesterday I think we sort of talked about this where here it could be a secondary, but whatever the case is, this is the area where it's supposed to go smooth now. Right? Either it's a secondary or a cheese, whatever it is.
Yeah, because I seen the grand scheme of things, and I kind of realized that we were in a cheese. So I didn't know if I should target here for the primary or have confidence to take it all the way down.
You would want to try and take it all the way down, but I can also understand that there's volume. Wait, the volume is actually in the middle, right? So the volume is actually here. This high volume is actually at the last end of this push up, right? Making things even better. All right, and there's no volume sort of ahead of you, but there is some type of trap, right? If you're considering it as a guy who started, he got killed, this is a trap, right? So now in this case, would you think this trap and the release would have a good chance of actually pushing up and hard?
Given the volume and the flow and everything, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah. So it is a trap. It might release, but the chance of it, making new highs, it's a little bit towards the slimmer side. There's no way we're gonna do a buys of this kind of a release zone. Yeah. So you can try and go lower.
All right, and then when the cell set up, it was like around here, which isn't really a good location, but based on like the stops and everything, it came out to like 2R. So would you say the trade's still worth it given the location?
Let's see, but ideally you want to take your trades around here.
Yeah.
You want to trade it off base of these guys.
Yeah.
So let's see. Okay, so before that, everyone understand what we're trying to do on $CAD so far? Understanding the bigger piece primary is up here. This could be the launch phase after a big refresh.
I have a question.
Yep.
Why do you consider here a primary? Because we didn't talk about a level from here. We didn't discuss about a level.
Yeah. Yesterday I think you asked the same thing. Primary generally comes from a level, but it can also come from something else, not a level per se.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in this case, what it's actually trying to use off is just areas like this. I wouldn't know ahead of time, right? I wouldn't know ahead of time. All we know is after the fact when this thing pushed down, that this might just be the primary. And then when it resolves down, then you have a much more clearer picture.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That's why That's why when we are counter trending a buy around here, let's say for whatever reason, if we're trying to do a buy here, you want to be extremely careful because there's a good chance if you're counter trending to do a buy around these zones, trading it off based off this level, you're taking the risk where they may be doing their primary, and if the buys fail, then up here we are all trapped. So that's the risk of taking a counter trend. Does that make sense, Ian?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Laila?
You called this. This is the primary, and shouldn't this be the secondary, but it failed to go up to a level to come down, and this would be the third move?
You can call it that way.
Okay, and then you said this move could come down to here, but I'm seeing this level. Isn't it dangerous? You have this range, and then you have this level. Maybe from here it's gonna try to go up. It's like a refresh for this guy to take it up again. I know I am in a downtrend here.
Yeah. So it's only only risky if you have something like this. It's only risky if you see this. Okay, now it's resolved, right? You have your bigger 60-minute trap. So when you do the pullback sell, this is the piece where it has to make new lows. This pullback sell has to make new lows. If it does this, then you do not want to sell this, because ideally speaking, here it should have went down. Instead, it took multiple legs to go down, failed to make lower lows, and then coming back up. Okay, then here you do not want to sell.
But would you take the chance to make a lower low from here?
From here?
Yeah, from here, yeah. Because I'm seeing this and I'm seeing the range here. So shouldn't you stop when you see this range? Because this could bounce back?
Not really, because the other way you want to try and think about it is this sort of like, you know how Naveen sometimes say, if this price cannot do anything, then we need a higher price kind of thing. So it's sort of like this price here can only get up towards here.
Yeah.
So when we pull back from the same area again, high volume at a logical spot. So what are the chances where these guys might still take the trade up again with the same price? That's why we're trying to bet on the fact that it could make a new low.
To another level, then the buy can try again. Okay.
Yeah. So here, because this is the first time coming back, then it's fine. If it struggles like that, then we do not want to trade the sell.
Okay. Got it.
This goes hand in hand with what Eric was asking about the legs as well. So if we're doing the leg kind of thing, this sort of would be like the first leg, second leg, and then sort of like the third leg, something like that. So momentum, again, I'm just repeating whatever is taught in the course. This is this kind of momentum, right? And then here to here, how does the momentum look? It still looks decently strong. So we might still expect at least the same move, or just based on these two alone, it might still travel. Again, some MPA stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, good question. Any questions? Any other questions? Dennis, settlement makes sense for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Jay, we have the level form, bottom end of this box I drew are the last attempts here. So on the 5 minute, we're doing the exact same thing again. Now using the volume concept, how are you reading this based on the overall volume and detailed volume?
Yeah, so when I was looking at it, I was like right around here. I seen that most of the volume was coming in towards the top. And from a detail view, the buyers were hitting it like every step of the way. So I wanted to see the sellers break through all the buyers and then test back for it to transfer.
Yep.
And then it just hung around, and then around the Asian session it tested.
On the underside. So you're saying that this is your last guy around this zone here?
Yep.
Yep. Yep, that's why you took the sell from there.
And I put my stops here. I know it can come in deeper, but I personally wouldn't want to be in if it broke through this last guy. So the risk to reward was pretty good, even though the location was bad. So I don't know if you would still take that.
Yeah. So you want to mark out the volumes here. Here, like that. So in this case, it gets tricky, right? Because the last swing towards the upside looks very big. Guy who started up there, guy who started is all the way down here. To take him out, you're pretty much already at a level where buyers could come in, right?
Right.
So the only way to do this safely is two options. The first option is praying, if that's the right word, praying that you get a new leg towards the upside and then get a kill on top to sell like that. Or the other option is push up, starts to range here with a little bit of volume and then sell from there. Right? Here we do not have, neither one of them. So what we do have is you see buys coming up. All this pullback still fails to resolve higher. I guess at this point it's very tricky. Yeah, your only sell is here. There's no way around that. The only thing I would do a little bit differently is have a wider stops. Just because around here it's Asia hours and Asia tend to mess things around a lot.
Yeah, and then one more question I had is, at what point do you gauge the seller's volume? Because around this point, the volume looks pretty bad for the sellers, but there's not really a level to the left to be too concerned about.
You would be concerned about this level here, although it's just an SNR, and the real trap is right around here. You want to look at this level as well. Though it's not, super strong. The next decent area where a release might happen is here. So you have probably two levels to look out for, here and down here. If it pierces through this area here, it should go towards recent low very easily.
All right, so we're kind of not to that level, this first level yet. So would you just disregard the high volume for now until we get there?
Which high volume?
Coming in for the sells. Around here.
Right now?
It's like kind of towards the bottom.
Okay, like that. Yeah, you start to get concerned for sure. Because
Okay.
it is at an SNR. Then you see some volume coming in. So, but then the thing is, this volume here against these volumes here, it's a good chance where they are gonna help you push through, right? The ones above.
Oh, that's true.
So that's why it's a little bit safer to have your stops at least here, above all these high volume guys. Because
Oh,
again,
yeah.
volume is sort of like a wall. You want to make sure that your stops is beyond the wall.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in this case, I just wouldn't have taken the sell then, because I agree that stop should have been higher. I was just
Yeah.
basing it off of this last seller.
Yeah, we can do it differently. You can sell it here, stops here, and then try gun for at least here, that kind of thing. Yeah. There's more advanced way of trying to get in on this. Personally, I have not mastered it. So what Naveen does is buy, right? This is all purely based on gauging the buyers and sellers. So if we are looking at this, all right, miniature scale, right? Try to imagine the miniature scale, buyers going up. Let's consider the fact that all this slowdown invites sellers to come in. All right. Once we have the sells coming in, they punch through. Here, they are supposed to make higher highs. Right? So in that case, if they fail to make higher highs and they resolve back down like that, then you can try to anticipate a sell from here. I know this is very hindsight. It's easy for me to say right now, but sometimes those kind of situations are possible if you have high volume here.
I get it.
Yeah. So this story is like this. So let's say this uptrend here. Okay, starts doing a refresh. This is like the primary. Primary cannot go far, and then secondary. Right? Secondary, this piece here is supposed to make higher highs. If they fail to make higher highs, crashes like that, then you assume that anyone who's tried to buy from here, they're all trapped and they want to release to go down. Something like that. Sorry, like that here. These are the areas where you can get a little bit more discretionary if you're at a good level on your 60-minute. Then the margin of error, although you can make more discretionary decisions, but you have to make sure the level is actually backing you up. Yeah.
So you should see some really high volume in that area then, right?
Yeah, around here, something like that. But in this case, we do not have that also. All of it is around here and here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was debating about whether once the range broke to just take it from the other underside, but
Yeah.
it was just a tight level.
Yeah. So that break of a range, is where the so-called safest area to sell from, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing I would do differently is have a wider stop and further target.
All right. Yeah, that's all my questions on that. Thank you.
Sure. No worries. Good trade.
Thank you.
So, yeah, just remember everyone, the focus, I would say 65% of the focus has to be on what you see on the 60-minute to identify this area to sell from. Okay, whether you want to call it this being a last attempt, but these are the spots. Right, to know exactly where the spot is, then we really need to gauge the buyers and wait for the kill. Otherwise, wait for volume to tell us otherwise. Yep. Yep, good trade, this one. I really like the story of the overall picture. Questions? Imbi?
Lucas, when you said about the move that normally when Naveen takes it, here, shouldn't you go to the even lower time frame to check if you can take a sell from here?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's why because of that part it becomes extremely critical. You cannot make any error on that because if we go to the 1 minute too quick, it's gonna mess up the read very, very quickly. So yeah.
Can you treat it like 15 1 minute? 15 being the big boy and 1 minute the precision time frame if you wanna do a sell up there?
No, it has to be 15, 30 seconds, something like that. Because we're going from 60 to 5, right? So yeah. So it has to be much lower. So yeah, for now, try not to do that first.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Teammate? Yep. Casey, Satyawan, Dennis, all make sense. Ross? Make sense for you?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Do you guys have any other pairs you guys were studying or past trades that you guys found interesting that want me to have a look at?
I had a look at the Aussie dollar yesterday after earnings post, and I did a temp yesterday, which worked out, trying to gauge momentum or an entry for today. So it might be interesting to just get your perspective of the read on that. But I don't want to intrude. It seems B day today, so I don't want to take over now. But it should be an interesting read. I won't say, but maybe they can do the read on that.
All right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, there are a few things on this one where it kind of scares me. Before this piece here, all right, as we are coming down, all we know is we are overall in the seller's territory. The next thing we want to check is if we are pulling back, all right, do we have a level to sell off? Is this a trap? Maybe, because here, all this high volume, right, might have just invited a lot of buyers coming in. So when they pull back, these areas might just be an area where it could release. So there's a possibility where it could be a release zone. But the thing is, it's still very far away. So I'm unsure. It's one little piece. The other piece is if we're looking at the overall volume from the top towards the bottom, volume doesn't really look that healthy for the sell side. Here as well, we have volume coming in here. So all this resolves up, right? Inviting a lot of buyers to step in. Might still be in a counter trend, but there's a lot of volume. So when we push towards the upside here, it's tricky to sell here. I'm not entirely sure how he's reading it, but if we're using what we have learned so far, it might be a little bit tricky. And right now as well, I was looking at this earlier to think about the fact that if this is a push down and this is a refresh, right, with all the slowdowns, when we have slowdowns and we resolve up, especially with volume, we're bound to invite buyers, right? So all this might just be buyers who are trying to do a counter trend. If say for example, if a primary has to set up from there, right, it cannot go far. In this case, now this is the piece where it gets tricky for me. Is this my primary or this my primary? Because our whole thing is primary cannot go far, right? Because someone below might still want to release. So let's say if this is a primary, it cannot go far. Reacts back up. Secondary. All right. Now from here, underside test would be the cheese, or so-called the on mode. All right, here. Everyone understood what I'm saying so far? It's based on technical analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say this is the last guy. This is the primary to push down, and primary is not really coming from a level. That's sort of like a small concern for me. Secondary sort of pierced through, killed this guy. Last attempt, where's the last attempt? Here, from the buyers. Right? It's either here or here, let's say. Right? So here is supposed to go down. But we have high volume again at the bottom. So even if I'm on the 5 minute right now, gauging this pullback to sell, my 5 minute pullback is telling me that I have super high volume right at the bottom, making this uptrend fairly strong. So then that's my question. First question is high volume at the bottom. Second question is, came up to the level once, here, still not going down. We have a big reaction afterwards, but now it's pulling back again. So I don't think my buyers, no one's trapped, or I don't think the setup is that healthy. Because of this, yeah, mainly because of this. Does everyone follow along how I'm reading this?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thanks, Lucas. So I think the first warning sign, because I took the secondary yesterday, and I took profits where it sort of ended, and I was hoping for a cheese, which didn't happen. So it just came up too strong.
Yeah.
And I thought it just might pull back where it is now. And where that red candle is on the end, I thought, okay, let's try again. I did try, and when it came back, I got out. So yeah, I do agree with your read. It was a risky one, not properly the way we've been doing things now at the moment, but it was just an interesting one to get your perspective and read and see if I read it right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No worries. No, I just want to add on to Maya. When you do the sell from here, yesterday, let's say from here or this piece, right? The thing is, when you do this sell, your high volume is around areas like this, right? So you can still get away with a sell at least to areas like this before they step in again. But the difference here is when you do the cheese here, the thing is you have high volume at the bottom when it's pulling back. So that's small little difference there, which makes this a little bit better as compared to this one.
Yeah, because I think yesterday there wasn't a cheese trade in the New York session when it gone down.
Mm.
and Asia just took it back up to the top. So that was sort of a warning sign that, nah, this is not going to go down all the way.
Yeah. You can put it that way as well. The fact that it's pulling back so deep. Yeah, Eric?
Lucas, I do have a question on this one. It's actually regarding the primary. So because now we know this primary, it can happen in a location that is not a trap. It can be some like SNR, and so how critical to get that right? Because let's say, for example, in this case, that is a now we know it's a primary. But if it's not, then the price when it comes to here, it can go up. So this secondary makes the secondary really risky. So I'm not quite sure in the trading how critical it is we get this primary right. What if we got it wrong and then the price decided to go deeper? It would result in loss, right?
Yeah. So it's a good question. So if we want to sell something, let's say a primary, we have to, at least with what we've learned so far, we have to trade it off a level or a trap, right? Which would be here.
Right.
So in this case, just on this piece alone, this primary would be extremely difficult to try and attempt to sell. So if you're not convinced that it's a primary, then secondary, it's going to be even harder for you to convince, because the whole idea is
exactly. Yeah.
Price shouldn't go anywhere higher than this.
Yeah. Because in this case, as you said, well, the trap is actually here, and then now at this moment the price is still a little bit away from that area, so it's kind of like when it reacts from here, then I'm like, should I trust this to be primary? Maybe the primary is going to be here, and when it comes to here, then it's going to do this.
Yeah. So if you're not able to trust the primary or the secondary, then the best
Then
thing
just wait for cheese.
Yeah, is wait for this one.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Let's take 5. Let's come back to this again afterwards.
Oh, Lucas, I got a question.
Yep.
I just want to know if he was going to dive into like money management and stuff like that throughout the program.
We're not really gonna look into specific topics, but along the way you can ask me. Or what questions do you have?
Yeah, because I mostly had problems with like moving my stops and like scratching the trade and when to like scale out and scaling and stuff like that. So I didn't know if he was going to dive into it.
Like trade management? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk more about that. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Lucas.
Yep.
Will we discuss about correlation later, maybe? Or
Yeah, we will. Most likely end of the week or next week.
okay.
Yeah, and also I think the time frames as well, because sometimes I just found it's kind of like the trade evolved into a higher time frame trade from 1 hour to 4 hours.
Yeah. The easiest way, the quickest answer I can give you for that is when does a time frame evolve is when you have huge move.
Right.
It's sort of like, I can't think of an example back of my head right now. It's sort of like this, say we have this, all right, and then this guy got killed. You want to sell this underneath test. Everything is visible on the 60-minute, and then this piece, you are able to watch the pullback on the 5. So the answer to that basically is if you're able to look for your trap on the 60, and when you're gauging the pullback on the 5, if it's manageable where you do not have to zoom out too much, then it's 65. So in this case, say we have this like that, right? So there's no way we are going to be looking at a pullback here on the 5, right? Because I'm on the 60.
Right.
Yeah. So these are the times where this sell is not going to be a 65 trade anymore.
Right. Yeah, because I was looking at the trade like Casey shared yesterday. I was not quite sure if it's a 1 hour or I should look at from the 4 hour.
Sure.
It's actually, it's Australia Japanese yen on the 9th of December. Yeah, that place.
This pullback?
Yeah, this pullback.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was not quite sure. Because when I was looking from the 4 hour, it looks like a simpler. It's easier to see the temp and everything. And in 1 hour, it looks like it drags really long. That whole process.
Yeah. Is this a release zone? Because you guys were talking about probably this area here to buy, right?
I think Casey was trying to sell over there, right?
Yeah, this one was interesting. This one was actually, I was following one with Naveen on this one, and he was attempting a sell
from here.
No, it was later. It was like over here.
Sorry.
In this little zone. And that was kind of what I was doing. The PA on this was an old past trade. I was trying to see why I would even take it. because technically this would be the last guy who started.
Yeah.
And we never actually took him out.
Yeah.
And then this pulled back to what I said possibly could be thought of as a release zone, even though we didn't take this guy out. Maybe that's what Naveen was looking at, because I think he attempted to sell after this, if I remember right, like right in here. And I went back before I got in and looked at the whole overall trade to see if I could see what he was looking at. And I think on a 15-minute, you can see some moves with a kind of a trap here. I really wasn't real sure on this one. This was kind of an unclear trade of why we were looking to sell here, but Naveen knows a lot more than I do.
So I was when I was looking at the 4 hour, I was thinking this is the primary, and this come from some level from the left, so that's your primary. And yeah, the primary was not supposed to take that guy out, and then when they come back, that's your secondary, and then that thing is supposed to go. But now, if you look at the scale of this and it lasts for quite a few days, on the 4 hour, it's actually very it's cleaner, I'd say. I don't know if I can read from the 4 hour. Does that mean it's a 4 hour trade?
Yeah, if you are able to see on the 4 hour, then it's more likely a 4 hour trade.
If you
then your trading time frame would probably be the 15.
Yeah, so if you look at this, that's the 4 hour, right? So you can clearly see that that's primary, and then that's the secondary.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah. Yeah, I think we leave this alone for now because it's a little bit difficult to know what. Yeah, it could be a primary, secondary. Could be. The other thing is this a trap to release to go up? Why is that a release zone?
Lucas, this I thought the same thing. This could be the release zone because this is where the sellers tried many times to go down, but they didn't. They couldn't do it. And you have this push from the buyers with high volume to the upside, and no volume from the seller, and many tries from the seller, nothing happened. Then you have this move up, and then you should have, I'm gonna annotate. I'm thinking that these are tries from the seller, nothing happens, and this is the move from the buyer. So the buyer should launch from here to the upper side because this seller tried so many times here.
Okay. So you're on the right track. This only becomes a release zone here if it's a valid area for the sellers to sell. So in this case,
here.
In this case, it's this zone here. Yep, these guys were trying to sell. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm just pointing out that if we're in an overall uptrend, and if we do see the same thing here, goes up, this is not a release. But if these areas, like this, it's coming from an area where it's logical for sellers to sell. Say for this area here, buyers got killed and they wanted to sell. Then yeah, after we killed the entire guy, you would want to see release.
Yeah, and then I'm seeing all of this volume, and if you go up to the 4 hours, you're going to see that this could be the end of a big move down. So this is maybe where it's starting to go. Oh, I'm messing it up everything. It's starting to go up.
Yeah, it may, yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw just the last example that I posted. This was a bad example for everything, the read and everything. I noticed that that was from a different time frame from the daily that I was watching. So I was watching it on the 1 hour, but the moves were so big and took so long time. So that is a good example for seeing that, okay, this is probably the higher time frame.
Sure. What pair is it?
That was the Aussie CAD. That was quite obvious that it was.
Where?
This is the daily. If you go to the the daily, I think that we were in this range,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of this move came up, and I was here somewhere trying to gauge the uptrend, but on the 1 hour, so it looked a lot bigger. I never went to the daily really, but I saw that the moves were so big. It took so long time.
Yeah. So you were trying to sell or buy on this one?
I was trying to sell.
You're trying to sell. Okay. Yep. Yeah. If you're looking at a daily, and you're trying to sell, the only thing you can do is wait for the 60-minute to turn around. And on the 60-minute, because it's pretty visible that it's in an uptrend, it's going to be difficult to turn unless we have a huge something like this, like huge resolution towards the downside. So in cases like this here, all you're waiting for is waiting for a trap to form or a refresh to form to continue the buys. That's all.
I think I was here and I said that it was an uptrend, but this is a channel, and this move where I then I saw all of this range, and I treated the last. Now that was wrong. Anyway, I was somewhere here, and then I noticed that all of this move really belonged to a bigger boy.
Yeah.
So everything was wrong about that, but we don't have to go into that now.
Oh, no worries. No. This is your last guy. Right here. Right.
Yeah.
The only thing you have to think about a sell is this huge range. So can we sell this? I'm not sure, but you can use this fact as a big range, resolve down, someone has to be trapped, and then release from there. If you're not able to sell that piece, just know that, we're still in buyer's territory. All these could still potentially be buyers. This is just a money spot.
Yeah.
When it resolves down, just use the same area again here, and then you do the sells from there.
Yeah.
So the easiest way is just to look for the levels that's visible on your 60-minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even like cases like this, let's say if you're right here, the daily is in a downtrend, but because that's still very far away, you're still following your 60-minute. The best thing you can do is just to see what level the 60-minute gives you. In this case, you have a huge range. Okay, although this is not really a trap, but when we resolve up here, all right, you have this range to release. So, you just follow the 60 until the 60 shows that it's not able to go anymore.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at this one here. Okay. Setiawan?
Yes.
From from this to this, right? Who's in control and where's your buyer guy who started?
Hold on. So from here to here,
Yeah.
I think the buyer's still in control.
Okay, where's your last guy? Is each step of the way.
This one.
Okay, then
Again. And then this one.
okay, it's the next one.
This one is the last one, I think. Or this one, because here it's the strength is not so good anymore. I mean, for the buyers.
Yeah. So here there's another push, right?
Yeah, here another push.
Yep. Then what happens to that area?
It got killed.
Yep. Is there a trap form when the kill happens?
Yeah. If this is the last guy, then yes.
Okay, so where's the trap and where's the release?
The release should be around here.
Okay. Is it here where the last buyers attempted?
This one?
Yeah, this is the guy who started, right? Where's his last attempt?
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Yep, it could be there, but I'm more or less looking at this zone here. Because here it looks very small to me, unless this is a huge push and then resolve down. Otherwise, I'm looking at potentially this zone here. It's also, like a SNR, support becomes resistance sort of zone, this zone here. Where a release could happen.
Okay.
Okay. So, Ross, in this sequence, we are overall in an uptrend. We see sellers coming in from here. Leaning on the buy side, where would potential primary be and secondary, and where's the area where it's safe to continue making higher highs? Those 3 spots.
All right, so we've come up. Oops, it's not empty. Nope. Right, right. Yeah, so we're basically prices come up, and then so we've got the price. So the last guy that started was over here. Come back, we've gone up, then come back, and then finally breached. And so we've got a guy started there, and so we're going to have, so that should be our line across that there. This is our primary.
So primary is
Comes back. Sorry.
So primary is this piece.
Correct.
All right, good.
And then we've got some volume above it, which is not terribly helpful. Then we come back, and then we've got a secondary, and then it finally punches through what I said, that one there. Or maybe it should be this one, not so sure. Is that line should go down a little bit further?
Yeah. Yep.
And then this is part of the cheese trade. Comes back, and then on.
Here.
Oh, so right. Well, I was thinking of these small ones, but yeah, certainly when it gets back to there, that's more certain one.
Yeah, this is more,
And
the more certain one. Yep. So it's good. Primary cannot go far. You understand why, right? Because you marked out this guy.
because you got sellers. Yep.
Yep. So in this case, I guess it's a little bit difficult to see because the way I'm explaining it is this is the first time where it pushes up, cannot go far. If this sequence fail, that becomes a secondary. In this case, it pushes through. And then secondary might just be around zones like this. And then it just meanders around this zone here and then resolves up. So we're going to look more into this, but generally speaking, the safest way to take a secondary would just be to take it from this zone towards this zone here, because we're not sure if it's going to resolve. Once it resolves up, what's this trap? B type, right? The B type trap got killed, and then the release should happen anywhere around this zone here, which should be that piece. This does. Let's not call it cheese for now. Let's just call it the safest one, the on one, because sometimes cheese are stuff like this. Just assume that this is the safest one. Yep. I didn't take this buy mainly because we're very high up in the sky, but it's still an example of a refresh, primary, secondary around this kind of zone here where it's difficult to know, and then our safest one is around zones like this here. Okay. Let's do a quick one. Let's say we're right here and we're waiting for a pullback to come in, all right, for release. So we know that the trade is sort of in an on mode. We are pulling back fairly deep. All right, so Ross, using the volume analysis from here to here, all right, overall volume, is the trend healthy or unhealthy for the push up?
Sorry, and we've got volume in this here, which is not working. All right, yeah, try. So we've got the volume here. We've got volume around here.
Yep.
Then we've got further volume up in this sector here, and then further. So, sorry, your question,
is it healthy?
Or healthy? I think it's no, it's got volume above and below it. So I expect would go sideways. So you can't see my. Yes. So I'd expect it's something like that, but no, it wouldn't be healthy. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
Approaching.
Yeah, it might not be the healthiest thing because of these small little volumes here, but you wouldn't really consider it unhealthy because the volume below you, it's a lot higher than the ones above. So it's still fairly strong.
Yep.
Right?
So you're saying that it could bounce up?
At this point, it could. Yep. Okay, so that's the bigger trend. All right, so once we have identified that, we know the volume is okay. All right, it's not unhealthy, it's just okay. You have your volume. The next thing you want to know is you have a level. Do we have a level? Yes, right? This is clearly an attempt from the cells before being killed. Right, so you have a zone formed around those that kind of area. Right? So once you have those two main pieces, the last piece is just to know what story you're in. You're still in an uptrend. Forget about the fact that it's super overextended. That's why none of us really took the trade. But if it's not really overextended, then it's at a point where it could potentially travel further. Right? So let's drop down to the 5. Before that, anyone has any concern about doing the buys here?
The move down looks strong, so that would be a concern, but the volume is increasing at the bottom of this down move, so maybe it is okay. I think that if we go to the 5, maybe we can check it more to know if we can take it up to the release zone.
Which release zone?
Just a minute. I'm thinking this here.
Yeah.
Take it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this one here is not really a small range, right? It's also a couple of levels of range here where we might just see cells try. Although we know overall this thing has transition, but what is all of this? If it starts pulling back from this candle here, then it's very easy for us to say, okay, I think we can target this area here. But because it's ranging so much, okay, not a lot, but definitely it's ranging, then here, we gotta take some action. At least, move stops in, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and all of this range didn't make a higher high than this either. So this is going from channeling to maybe a range, bigger range.
Yeah, maybe. So you can only answer that question based on what happens here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So our job is done on the 60. We identify the story, identify the overall volume, and then most importantly, identify where a release can happen. Okay, so let's look at the 5, dropping down to the 5. Okay, Casey, before pulling back, on the way up, where did the buyers got trapped before pulling back?
Where do the buyers get trapped before pulling back?
Before coming down. Well, after it comes down, obviously it forms a trap.
Yeah. If you want to look at the overall picture, all these guys are trying to buy as a range and then got trapped.
Yeah.
Is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, more or less, right? So, yeah, the one thing that is catching my attention is also what happened here, right? This buys and then they turn sells here, right? So if we start pulling back from there, the first area of concern would be areas like this, but that's pretty much at the recent highs anyway, right? So would be a valid exit for us. But here things changes a little bit because it's starting to form a huge range. So when we take the buy, just know that this area here might be a problem for us. So this is the part where we have to consider space. Do we have enough space to at least make 1 hour of this trade? Yep. Okay. Now, Casey, just based on what we have right now, how does the overall volume look of this downtrend?
Volume of the downtrend. This cluster, basically all in this area, above us at the start of the downtrend, and then as we're going down, we have that small, I mean, it's all high, honestly, the whole way, but you have that small little cluster right there on the push down, going down, and then, you know, this super high one, where's that guy at?
Right around here.
Right around there. So, I mean, it's still pretty healthy going down, I'd say, but then we have some high peaks, spikes at the very bottom where we're at now.
Right.
So, I mean, that's for us. It's starting to, who's selling way down there? I guess would be the question we have to ask.
Yeah, who's that way down there?
The downtrend, it's not as healthy.
Yeah. So you have volume at the top, volume at the bottom, and then starting to see some high volume at the bottom as well. So it's not healthy, right? Okay. So there's a few things we now know. This could be a problem. This could be a problem, right? And plus the fact that we're in an extended uptrend. All right. So now, Layla, just based on this, where would you mark your guy who started each piece along the way on the way down?
The seller, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. This would be the seller that started the move down.
Yep.
And this is the second seller.
Yep.
And that's it. It stopped here. I don't know. Okay, you have this week. You wouldn't count it, I suppose. So this would be the last guy for the last move. So if you take this guy out and go up, launch from here, or maybe just go up and just close your position if you're in the buy side, if you want to take a buy. But if it just does like this, launch from here, then go buy, then go, then this you could take the sell depending on the volume. Okay, I'm going far away from what you asked me.
No. So you're saying if this wick doesn't exist, which you're saying it's like that, and then this is your last guy?
Yeah. Or maybe the whole thing. This one is the last guy, if you count that also.
In this case, this is where, we really need to do more practice, and then you have a feel of it a little bit better. I wouldn't ignore this tail. I would assume that it actually got down there. So when you have this, I can only be aggressive taking this buy, assuming that this is the last guy, which is, some of you guys may say that, that's not really last guy, and I clearly understand why, because it's one strong push. So unless volume is extremely high, higher than what we have here, then you can try to do this buy because you are at a 60-minute zone. But I would still assume that probably still looks like this. And the fact that price got down there, this is not really a breach for me.
No, but maybe if it builds a little range and then you have the volume, then you could say, okay, you can take the primary only to here.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. If you have a range. And the other thing is, that's not really important, but yes, to answer your question, yes. If it builds a range, then it's easy for us to get in.
With volume behind.
Yeah, with volume behind.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we almost got the highest volume so far. All right, highest volume now is of this downtrend is at the bottom, right around here. So let's see what happens after that. Okay, now you see sort of like a range. Once it resolves up, then maybe you can try your first attempt around this zone here. This range at your 60-minute zone here with your first attempt after breaking that range, giving you a short little retest.
Can I have a question about that?
Yeah.
This gives a very short test. It's just a wick. So how can you grab that? I mean, do you wait for the candle to close? If you wait, then it's already on the go, already in a different level here. But if you don't wait for the wick, I don't know what to do there.
Okay, so there's a few things we can do. Sometimes what I'll try to do is, first of all, draw out the range. Right, this range can only be good if I have high volume, like this. All right, so I have that out of the way. Right now, the only thing I'm waiting for is for price to close above that range.
Yeah.
So we have a close above, right? Then what you can do is just put a limit order around this zone here.
Okay, that was what I wanted to know. A limit order.
Yeah. Then your stops would be here, assuming that this is the turn. Right? Then you want to watch this, and then you want to watch this.
Yeah.
Okay. So at this spot, yeah, that's where we execute our trade. And yeah, I guess you guys see what happens after that. Everyone, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, another question. You said stops here, but when it breaks above the range, shouldn't you have your stops? I asked that before.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's fine. It's here. It's fine. Just because sometimes on the 5 you may have bigger spreads, but yeah, this should be enough also.
Okay.
So when it reaches the first problem area here, this high volume peak here, then you know there is going to be a reaction. At that point, if my stops are here, I would move it up there. If your stops are here, you can actually just move it a little bit higher here, assuming that this release zone, so-called, on a smaller time frame release zone, is holding the market. All right. Now, one thing you mentioned just now about all of this piece being a primary, this is the part where you're not expecting it to be a primary if the overall story has shown you that we have already came in as a seller. This is your primary already. This is your secondary. There shouldn't be any more primary or secondary here. If it's supposed to continue the uptrend, this is where it's supposed to be on, right? This is the case where it's supposed to make higher highs. The reason why that's important is because this sort of answers Jay, your question. It's because when you take the buys around here, you're not really expecting a whole new set of pullback coming down. So if price does do this, coming down like that, then you do not want to be in the trade anymore. But just one more piece. But the flip side, the reason why that's important is because if we do the same thing on the 5-minute, gauging this sell, and then we do a primary buy here on the 5-minute here, when price goes up, there's still a fair possibility where this piece can still come down, right? Because the primary cannot go all the way up because someone up there is trying to sell, right? So here, there's still a fair possibility where price can pull back deep and then go. Whether or not you want to hold on to this piece, that's up to you. But the point is, this piece here, we're not really going to be expecting a whole new slowdown, and then resume up, that kind of thing. This is the area where it's supposed to just go. You might expect some reaction here, but not a deep pullback.
It shouldn't break levels to the downside. It should only try a little bit and go from that level to another level all the time.
Yeah, at this piece of the story.
Yeah.
But again, I understand because this is a range as well, so you would be concerned. So getting out here would be logical. Yep, Jake, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, on the 5. If you go to the 5. This piece would scare me with the high volume. I don't know if I'm looking at that right, and if I should do anything if I'm in the trade, if I wanted to go all the way up here.
So we know this spot is going to cause us problem because of the volume, right? And then the next spot is here. Now that's the area where you have to make a decision before it gets towards that area, whether you want to just target that zone or this zone here. So before even reaching that area, you need to have a plan on what to do, because after seeing this, your profit reduced more than half. So for you, let's say if you're leaning towards more the conservative side, just get out here. It's, generally stuff like this has more than 1 hour. Otherwise, move your stops in and then take it up towards this high here. Then this is the piece where you have to look at your trade journal and overall in the long run, which decision actually makes you the most money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just this piece that I need help with, because I just go blank on those levels.
Yeah, you do not want to wait for them to do this kind of stuff to make a decision. Generally, that's how I do it. There's a lot of way of doing it for the trade management part. For me, I'll just look for an level and then make my decision before price reaches that level.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this decision could be based on, okay, I see all of this big range, so I'm getting out no matter what, because the buy is not that healthy.
Yeah.
Would it be too aggressive after seeing this reaction back up to place your stops here?
It might be. Because just in this instance, because there is a huge range here, although a few seconds ago I was saying you're not expecting price to come back down, but just because there's a huge range here like that, this might just happen. But if it starts pulling back, let's say from here, just coming down like that, and then you have this price action here, then yeah, you can move your stops here. It's fine.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's just this piece here.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Does that make sense, Setiawan, Dennis? How we isolate this zone here, and then how you can get in on this trade, and why we want to get out sooner or take action around this zone here before price resolves up.
Yes, it makes sense. but I'm still a little bit confused.
All right. Which part?
Maybe you can re-explain that a little bit.
Which part?
I mean, why we can take the buy there, and why should we can?
Okay. Do you understand this is a release?
Yes.
Yep. You understand that's a release, right?
Yeah.
So we know a pullback towards that area we are supposed to look for a buy, right? Because
Right.
someone's going to release. So after knowing that, we go to the 5,
5. Okay.
all right, and then do our volume analysis. How does the volume look from the top to the bottom? So in this case, we have some volume here, which is all around this zone here. We
Right.
have this peak, which is here. And then the highest one so far is at the bottom.
Okay.
Right. So based on the volume, is this downtrend healthy?
No.
No, right? All right. So once we know the downtrend is not so healthy, we do what we have been learning the first few days, which is how a trap is formed.
Okay.
Okay. So the way to do that is to mark out the guy who started, push down, all one piece towards the downside. So there's no way for us to get a trap, because to get a trap, we have to kill him.
Right.
Right? So what's the other way we can get a release? A range.
Yeah, range. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. If we have a range and have high volume, once it breaks up, you can get in aggressively.
Okay.
Then your buy happens. You have a 5-minute release zone on top of a 60-minute release zone.
Okay. Okay, get it.
Yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Lucas, I've got a question here because just now you said when there's still a possibility because there is this huge range on top of me, and there's still a possibility the price may come to here. So normally in this kind of scenario, it will be I would get out somewhere here already if I was still in the trade. So this is kind of the situation that we don't really hold this kind of trade, right? So if there's no this range, then probably we can hold this trade a little bit longer, hoping it's going to break through and go to the higher high.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. So sometimes it's healthy if you guys have multiple screens, or if you do not have multiple screens, just use different layouts just to see on the way down, even on the 60-minute, right? From here to here, the highest volume is at the bottom. So
Right.
yeah, earlier Ross was saying, Ross, you were saying there's some volume here. So not sure if it's that healthy, but as it pulls back towards this zone here, again, the highest volume still is showing up at the bottom of this small downtrend. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? Team B? All good?
Okay.
All right. We're gonna do more examples tomorrow, and then Thursday and Friday, we're gonna start to look at live analysis together. Yep, sounds good. Keep doing more practice, and then if you guys have any roadblocks, we can talk about it tomorrow in the class. Cool.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Welcome, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.
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 See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.